If you are playing anything made by FROMSOFTWARE, you will be able to recognize quite a few recurring themes in the games that they have put out throughout the years. It doesn't matter if you're in a European-inspired medieval setting, in good old England, or in a mech-filled dystopian future. You can always count on finding a blade that can shoot waves of light. Of course, I'm talking about the Moonlight Greatsword, arguably one of the most iconic FROMSOFTWARE creations. But beyond this weapon, there are a lot more things that will find their place again and again within the universes laid out by FROMSOFTWARE. Simultaneously, the most hated and beloved character, Patches, is also someone whom you will see regardless of where you go. With the exception of Sekiro, Dark Souls 2 and Armored Core 6 for some reason. Although they all kind of have their own version of Patches. And of course, who could forget the Poison Swamps? You get the idea. If you play one FROMSOFT title, you will definitely find some elements carry over into other games. Usually, these three are the most common, but there is one more thing which I think deserves a lot more attention. It might not be as iconic just yet, but I think it's on track to become the next major FROMSOFT special. Hey guys, how's it going? It's me Fermyon here, and today I just want to talk about one of my favorite weapons FROMSOFT has ever made. And hopefully, one that is on its way to become the next Moonlight Greatsword. You're a young man. Bloodborne just came out. You're skipping class and you don't care. You're enjoying the game. You're dying a lot. You're having fun. Life is great. You just got done with Martyr Logarius, and you're about to join the Vile Bloods. Your reward? A sweet katana. Not just any katana, mind you, but one that carries some hardcore mid-2000s edginess. You have to keep in mind, this isn't the first time FROMSOFT added katanas to their games. They have been present ever since Demon's Souls all the way back in 2009, maybe even before that. But they never really stood out besides being the cool Japanese weapon. Chikage was everything that's been missing from the katana archetype. It was one of the few weapons that had a rather unique scaling, in the case of Bloodborne. With Blood Tinge, it had an amazing moveset, and not only that, but it was just super edgy and cool. It was very stylish and, simply put, it felt good to use. People loved this weapon, and wanted more of it. And so what did FROMSOFT do in the next game that followed Bloodborne? They completely forgot about its existence. To be fair, Dark Souls 3 at least added the Frayed Blade, which is pretty much the prototype version of the Moonveiled Katana from Elden Ring, but this will be a topic for another time. At this point in the timeline, we're in 2016, Chikage as a concept was completely forgotten. Something that not even Ashes of Ariandel and the Ringed City would fix. It seems all was lost, and that the Chikage was set to rot in the game it came out, with no hope of having something like that ever again. And then Sekiro came out. Despite it being something completely different from your usual Souls-like formula, it still very much had that FROMSOFT DNA we all came to love. But now, instead of taking place in a Europe-inspired world, we venture all the way to the east, to the land of the rising sun, Japan.
Well done, Sekiro. Farewell.
Considering that Sekiro takes place in the homeland of katanas, it wasn't a question of if, but rather a question of when are we going to acquire the Chikage of this game. When you first start off, you only have a katana at your disposal. As you progress throughout the game, you will come across various prosthetic tools. You have all kinds of different equipment here. Axes, a flame vent, a poison dagger, an umbrella that functions as a shield. You even get a whistle and a fan, but not a single sign of a blood-infused katana. But then, this happens. Yeah, so the Mortal Blade is kind of like the Chikage, but you sadly don't get to use it too often, since it's mostly limited to a few abilities, and honestly they are not that exciting besides having a very cool factor to them. I'm sorry, but Dark Souls 2 came out in 2014, and I could fight with 2 katanas if I wanted to. Meanwhile, the game that's set in Japan can't have the protagonist using 2 katanas at once. This is yet another Dark Souls 2 W. Still, I can't really say that this is what the people meant when they said they wanted the Chikage. And so, if this version of the Chikage left you empty, saddened, disappointed even, okay, maybe not as disappointed as I am with the fact that Bloodborne is still locked to 30 FPS, but anyway, if you felt like the Chikage is gone, and that you will never play another FromSoft game that lets you use a Blood Katana to your heart's content, then let's fast forward to 2022. So, I think it's fair to say that Rivers of Blood was pretty good, huh? I don't think I need to say too much about this weapon, since at this point, it's one of the most infamous weapons in all of gaming. Yeah, I know, that's a big statement, but considering just how massive Elden Ring was, and just how many people were using Rivers of Blood in the first 6 months, I think that's a fair thing to say.
You sold the Rivers of Blood? Yeah. Your problem?
Even if you don't agree that it was that iconic, I think we all can agree that out of the 3 incarnations of the Chikage, Rivers was by far the best and most widespread. In a way, you could also say that we followed the trend of Red Blade with long range into Armored Core 6, thanks to the Redshift blade. But I think that's completely different, as it's just really a recolor of the Moonlight Greatsword, rather than an evolution of Chikage, Mortal Blade, and Rivers of Blood. I want to say it again though. I hope this is not the end for this specific archetype, and I really want to see more iterations of it in the future. Who knows? Maybe in 10 years we are going to look back on Rivers of Blood and compare it with the next Blood Katana they have on the menu. In any case, I want to say thank you to anyone who's watched. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you again soon. Take care, everybody.